Hey guys, what up? It is Rick Holwolf, and we are here with a review video. Gosh, totally flubbed up on that one. Yeah, so it's been a while since I've actually done a review of any airsoft gun. So far, I've been out of the sport for a while now, and I've gotten back into it recently in the last month. So I will introduce you to my primary. It is a custom Polarstar M4. This is a build of a whole bunch of used parts that I've had for a while and things that I've bought. And I'm just going to go over the externals, then we'll go over the internals, and then I'll let you know how well it played in the field and my final thoughts about it. So, externally, this is a GMP M4 body. This is the old Troy body that is discontinued from GMP. As you can see, the nice trademarks right there. And it is number 9. So, I think that's pretty cool as far as collectability goes. So it is a, like I said, full metal M4 GMP body. The rail is a Daniel Defense free floating rail system made by Mad Bull. As you can see, it looks very nice. Gives it that actual milsim kind of look. Going up into the gun, it is a 14.5 inch outer barrel. This is a GMP metal M4 flash hider. There's a Troy front sight, a full monolithic upper rail that has my mock PEC box on top. That's where I house the battery and the FCU unit of the Polarstar. And I don't have a charging handle. I took that out so I could route the wiring up to the PEC box instead of having it in the stock. As you can see, I have painted just a LE stock and the standard M4 pistol grip red. I had these painted already, and they were going to go on a Tokyo Marui M4 that I had, but that never happened. So after not surprisingly, when SB 119 passed here in California, this actually kind of fits that law in a sense. Yes, it's taking it overboard. It's not the tape that's required on the stock, the pistol grip, and you'll see I won't have the tape on the trigger guard. I usually put that on there when I'm transporting it, but for the purpose of playing and on videos, it does not need to be on there. I do like the fact that this is red. Just more so of my personal preference and my personalization of me onto the gun, as red is probably one of my favorite colors. Metal buffer tube. I have the GMP QD sling point attachments, but I don't have any QD slings. Normally, I don't even have this sling since this is the only thing I'm running when I'm on the field. As far as that's pretty much it on the externals. Very minimal, I guess, custom work on my end. It's really not that hard building an M4. Everything's pretty simple and modular, and there's so many aftermarket parts that pretty much everything fits. GMP bodies can be a little iffy, so when you're buying rails, slight modification may be required for GMP metal receivers. Now getting into the internals of the gun, I do have the Polarstar jack, which you can kind of see the skull right in there. That is their drop-in HPA unit for metal gearbox shells instead of like the actual Polarstars that replace the whole entire gearbox. The gearbox it's fitting in isn't an actual TM gearbox. So the TM gearbox does fit pretty well in the GMP body. I didn't have to do any modifications to it. The hop-up that originally was in there was a GMP hop-up, but I replaced it with the Element, or advertised by Evike, the M4 Max Accuracy hop-up, which essentially is a plastic clone to the Pro Win. So far, haven't had any issues with it. Test firing it in my backyard, 100 feet, works fine. Don't have to adjust the hop up too much on it because the hop up bucking that I have in here is a Maple Leaf 70 degree bucking, and then the nub in it is the Maple Leaf flat nub. So literally, like, point twos, barely have to touch it, and they're kind of already curving upwards. The inner barrel I have in here is a Mad Bull version 2 6.03 tight bore barrel that I think is comes up right about to the edge of here. So it's like it's a 360 millimeter length, so full M4 length barrel. As you can see, the hose is just the standard 6 millimeter hose for the that connects from my tank and SLP rig into here. I did have the amped pistol grip line as well, but until this breaks or something goes wrong is when I'll replace it. I didn't think it was really necessary to put that on there when I already have something that works. I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I feel like that's a standard rule of thumb. So that as far as the externals and internals, this is all pretty much custom. You can't buy this anywhere. Now we'll get into the performance of the gun. So I usually keep my rig at 80 psi, and with .2s, it's shooting with this barrel at about, if I remember the chronograph was 380. My field allows 420 FPS with .2s, so that 80 psi is like the sweet spot for me personally. I do a lot of semi-auto shooting, but I do keep my full auto setting for the FCU. I keep it at a 5-round burst. I don't like just hosing people down with BBs. I've been on the receiving end of many Polarstars, and it sucks when you get like 40 BBs just like in your face and on your chest. It's not fun. But I usually use .2s in this, or not .2s. I usually use .25s, but I'm thinking about using .32s, more so to get better accuracy with the BB and the tight bore barrel. If I go any heavier, then I might have to switch the barrel into an Ortega barrel, or go back to a standard 6.05 or 6.07 standard AEG barrel, because I know heavier BBs do not really like traveling down tight bore barrels. But the efficiency using the 80 psi with the setup that I have on the settings on the FCU, I can get about 3,500 shots with a full 48 3,000 psi tank that I keep in my chest rig, or not chest rig, in my plate carrier that I have a backpack molly backing that I keep back there. So really the line doesn't really bother me at all. It just kind of, like, as you can see, comes down and then it loops over into my chest rig and I keep it on my back. So it's pretty much how I have my setup. I always keep the stock all the way back because I do have really long arms. So when I'm firing this weapon, I pretty much have it on pretty much like this whole entire time. I keep it pretty tucked in close to my body and my face. If I keep it all the way like this, it just feels like it's just way too close for me. My arm's like really kind of like T-Rexing it over here. So just that like little additional length that I can get is good enough for me. Magazines that I do use in this are the mag, mid cap, Stan Egg mags, GMP Troy mag, that's a mid cap, and flash mags. Those work fine in here. I've had a few feeding issues, but I think the problem was the GMP hop up just wasn't aligned right with the Polarstar nozzle. So when I switched to this other hop up unit, just I didn't get any double feeds. It was perfect single feeding on semi-auto, which is what I like shooting on anyway. So again, performance-wise, this is an amazing setup. I've played with AGs the whole entire time. Nothing comes close to the range and accuracy that I've gotten out of this Polarstar. I have got a confirmed kill to 200 feet, 250 feet, and that was just 1, 2, 3 BBs, and I finally touched the guy. It was another sniper. He had no idea where it came from. He looked around, saw me, and I ended up waving at him, and he was really pissed, but he laughed about it later. So again, 250 feet with this gun, that's pretty awesome. I'm sure with the right BB and already with the barrel and hop up, I could get 300 possibly. That's probably pushing it. We'll see how far I can actually get decent shots next time I go out and play. Definitely we'll throw up some more footage of me using this. Honestly, I'm going to say I wasn't a believer in Polarstars. I'm not a douchebag with my Polarstar. I only shoot semi-auto, and I rarely overshoot my targets. I know I've seen plenty of videos and things recently have brought up into light that people have just abused these. I am not one of those players. I hope I never become one of those players. I believe that honor and integrity are very important in the sport, and it should be kept that way. My plans for this, I'm thinking about buying for CQB purposes, literally 4-inch, like a 4-inch outer barrel, 4-inch rail, and I'm going to keep the stock as is, and I'm just going to, I want it to stop, right here, where the pec box stops. I want it short for CQB purposes. Still going to keep the same hop up and bucking setup. Just put on a different barrel and upper. So yeah, if you can buy a Polarstar setup, do it. I'd recommend it. This whole entire thing cost me about $700, and that's gun, the jack, and the tank and hose rig that I got. Really, no AEG comes close. You can build an AEG up to the same specs as this, getting it to shoot at 20 BBs per second, and get that range. But for just the simplicity purpose of what the Polarstar is, I would go Polarstar. I know a lot of fields are banning them or limiting to what they can do, and I get that. I understand that because people are not being fair with these. But I believe that in the right hands with the right person, the honor for Polarstars, I think, is there. Again, if you can get one of these, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's amazing. I love it. I am definitely a Polarstar or HPA fanboy. I think if I ever do another build, which might be an AK build, I might go the Wolverine route and see how those fare and do a comparison of the two. But this has been my quite long review of my custom GMP Polarstar M4. This is Red Claw Wolf, and I will see you guys in the next video.